Dude,
What up, dum dum?
you're looking very like camouflage, military, like super top secret.
Yeah,
Go ninja guy.
yeah. Because when you go fishing in the morning,
Hmm.
you have to sneak up on the fish, dude.
Oh, do
Yeah,
you like catch the fish with your bare hands? Like, do you like dive in
if
and?
that's the kind of fishing I want to do that day.
Oh, that's really dumb.
Yeah, well, you're dumb, and I would say that I'm actually really smart because I got up this morning,
Uh-huh.
built it into my calendar,
Uh-huh.
spent an amazing time with my daughter talking about what actually we're going to talk about,
Mm.
and then I went fishing for the blessing of living in Colorado is that I am, not we, you're in Parker, but I am about 17 minutes from a river.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit addicted to fishing, to fishing. And so, yeah, that's what I did.
Was that the effort put in between you going fishing and the fish uh jumping on your line? Was that a 50-50 split there on your effort?
No, I would say it's probably more like a 70-30. No, probably like a 90-10. 90-10. Like I've got to walk, I've got to get there, I've got to throw the line, got to present the fly. They just have to eat it.
They just have to eat it.
And oftentimes they don't, which is well, that's all I gotta do. They got 10% job is all they got.
Yeah.
Not even 10%. It's probably a 1%. They just have to open their mouth and eat it.
Is that equate to the relationship that you have
Yeah.
with your significant other?
Well, and I don't even want to say significant other. I would say that even like in our relationship as business partners, I'm like a 90-10 guy. Like I go 90% and you're like a 10,
and,
you're
and
like a
I'm a
10%
10.
guy.
Oh,
Yeah, you're a 10% guy.
spouse same way. Your bride,
Yeah. For fear that she may listen to this, she is 90% and I'm
she's
10. Yeah,
okay.
she is like
Good
she's
call.
all in.
Yeah.
She's always making all the effort. And I'm the 10% guy.
Well, maybe you should change that.
Yeah, it's interesting because we had an amazing conversation in the Storehouse Mastermind with the dudes talking about this idea of 100%, right? And meet me halfway in our relationships, so the relationship should be 50-50. And you hear that all the time, right? And one of the dudes was like, no, man, why can't it be like 120%? Why can't it be 60-60?
Mm,
On a well, actually not 120%. On a 100% scale, why can't there be 120% effort?
yeah.
And I really thought the conversation that resulted was awesome. It was eye opening. A lot of the dudes really benefited from just a change of perspective, right? Just the idea that, and I think when we say it, it seems so obvious, but if you're not assessing your actions and what you're doing, then I think there's a disconnect. But do you go above and beyond? I
Yeah.
think that's the real question. Do you go above and beyond without the expectation of something in return?
Yeah. We were even talking about just the simple idea of just our content creation and posting on the social medias, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are we expecting all these emojis and heartsies and likesies? Or are we just going to be pouring 100% of our efforts into offering value with no expectation of really anything in return? And I think over time, that's going to benefit our business, and the way people are receiving what we're offering.
Yeah, and you just don't know, right? Like even with the mastermind, we joke that, and I've actually it's interesting. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, and I've heard it. I don't know why the books I've been reading and some of the podcasts I've been listening to. There's been this theme that's come out, and it basically is, if you're passionate about something if you're willing to do it for free. And I was actually listening to this a TED talk yesterday, and this one lady said, "I would pay somebody to do my job. Like I would literally pay somebody to let me do what I'm doing." And that just shows a level of passion, right? And so the mastermind, we joke around that it's not paying it in likes or whatever, but in reality, the value that's added, one, we don't truly know. We see what we see. We see what the dudes tell us. We see the impact. We see the emotion. We see all the amazing conversations. But things happen for me when we click end,
Yeah.
and then I really have time to think about and challenge myself and write things down and be like, wow, that was, and we listen to it again. And you're like, dude, there's so much gold in there. And really just recognizing that when you pour in 100% to try to add value, and that's the goal. It's not 60-60. It's I'm only responsible for what I can do.
Yep.
I'm responsible for what I can like, who I hang out with, and what I do. So if my relationship, I would challenge anybody to argue that if you put 100% effort into your relationships, that they wouldn't flourish. And if they didn't flourish, that would be a good indicator to you to say, I gave my all. And now it's time for me to put this effort somewhere else. I'm not talking about marriage, but I'm talking about like, we spend a lot of time and effort in things that are fruitless.
Yeah.
And there's goodness in knowing that, right? But if you really think you put 100% effort into your marriage, if you really think that your wife would not respond to that and it wouldn't be amazing, or your kids wouldn't respond to that, then there's something wrong. Like that math doesn't add up to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's such a great way to look at it. And it's just a mindset shift, changing your thought process from, I'm going to meet you halfway. It's going to be a 50-50 effort and whatever it is, raising your kids, being the best husband you could be or spouse you could be. Well, maybe just change that mindset to be 100% in all the time with no expectation that, the other half is going to give any percentage at all, really. I mean, if you're 100% in, and if, they're 100% in, or if they're 50% in, or if they're 60% in, whatever it is, I think it's going to be fruitful.
It will be fruitful. And always remembering, and so how to turn this practical, right? I oftentimes think about, okay, my responsibility is with me. I cannot control, even the people that are closest in my life, like my kids. I can control to a very small level what they do, right? But as they get older, like I can't control it. I can't control the way that what they're going to do with their lives. I can only control what's my responsibility and how I act and how I treat people. And so practically speaking, you have to acknowledge that. Two, it's also okay to say, man, it's really, really hard to not have expectations or to get, it's like I love you. Oh, thank you. That response, that's the worst. But do I really love somebody if I only love based on the condition that they love me back?
Right.
And be honest with yourself, right? Be honest with yourself. And so it's going to be hard to humble yourself. It's going to be hard to be vulnerable. But when you take those steps, those practical steps, and be intentional about it, like I tell myself, all right, dude, humble yourself. Like you don't have to respond. Or even my kids, like you don't have to, Noah just said he hates me. Is my response really going to be like, well, I'm not going to feed you dinner, or I'm going to I'm going to somehow get back at you. You're 5, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to just be very intentional and be like, okay, take a deep breath, assess the situation, and how do I want to be? How do I want him to see this moment in a couple days, in a year, in 10 years? All these things are formative, and my love cannot be conditional. Or if it is, at least you acknowledge that, and then you make whatever change is necessary. And so I think it's just really important to be extremely intentional about this idea of 60-60 or 70-70 or whatever. If you're that area that you're overlapping, that 100% is, that's just happiness. That's joy.
Yeah.
Excuse me. That's next level relationship stuff.
So when your kid says I hate you, you don't say I hate you back.
It happened the other night, dude.
Oh.
Actually said it to his mom, not me. But it these things are, I mean, you have a choice in the moment to how to react.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I don't say I hate you back. I just say I don't like you at all. But I don't hate, because hate's a strong word.
It is a strong
and
word.
We don't hate in this house.
There you go.
We just don't like strongly.
So don't be dumb.
Don't be dumb.
Overlap the efforts. Put in 100% into those relationships.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And if there is not fruit, then look for other relationships. Because if you're putting in everything you've got into something and you're doing it honestly without expectation, man, I just think your relationships will be blessed in amazing ways that we just don't typically realize because we're not willing to go that level. So to you,
yeah,
if you could get off the 10% train,
oh,
and get a little bit more proactive, I think our relationship could flourish a little bit more.
Okay, I'll think about it. Don't be dumb.
But if you're dumb, be deep.
Yep.
And that's it.
That's it. See you.
See ya.